So Cool Cat says, listen to this, or in response to this guy. He says, this Mike and I guy says, how much can BSV be worth per coin? I mean, that obviously means like at all-time highs someday, right? And don't get me wrong, I mean, it's not like Cool Cat Crypto is the end all be all, but he definitely knows a lot more when it comes to BSV than we do, right? I mean, he's very passionate about that. So I always give credit to anybody who's passionate about anything, even if they don't see eye to eye with me, especially with quant. I mean, me and Cool Cat obviously have our differences when it comes to quant. I think he's a overall good person. So it says the fake Bitcoin reached 60, the fake Bitcoin, which is BTC, reached 68,700, roughly 69K, right? So it's safe to assume the real Bitcoin BSV will go way past that in the future. Not financial advice. Well, or not in financial information is what he's saying. Okay, that's interesting itself. So let's say this, right, guys? You know, he's just one guy. But what if it doesn't go to that? But let's say, for instance, it only went to like half of that, like 34,000. That's huge in itself. What if it only went to 10,000? That's that's pretty massive, right? So that's the way I look at it. It's like, yeah, it's that fear of missing out. Because if he's right, and we go to this particular, here I am doing a deep dive on freaking BSV. So if we go here and you see some of this particular info, and I know I did a video on it, but it says what is BSV, all right? Well, and who are the founders? Like this guy named Craig Wright. Some people think he really is. Look at this, Craig Wright. Sorry, N-Chain chief scientist Craig Wright, who claimed to be Satoshi Nakamoto, has been a supporter of BSV since the split between Bitcoin Cash and BSV in 2018. Following the proposal of a controversial protocol changes by several BCH developers, there's all this particular information here, but like what makes it unique. And look at this particular one. Thanks to its unbound block size, BSV can scale to meet market forces and accommodate the demands of any application and payment network without resorting to second-layer solutions. In 2021, the BSV network mined the world's first gigabyte, 1,000 plus megabytes level blocks, reaching up to 2 gigabytes in August 2021. For comparison, 2 gigabytes is 2,000 times the one. Yeah, and we know that. I know that part. I mean, I work in IT. Block capacity of the BSV network is expected to continue growing. But look at this. Here's the key areas. I mean, I know we talked about it in the video, but I'll reiterate this just in case you haven't seen the video. So the team has already demonstrated that the BSV's network's ability to handle up to 100,000 transactions per second. That right there in itself makes it sound like it is the fastest of them all. I mean, I know Hedera is extremely fast, but I mean, come on, this very well could be the very fastest per second, and expects that capacity to be shown on the BSV mainnet and grow even higher in the future. With this capability, BSV rivals this and aims to supersede the payment processing capabilities of platforms like Visa, because in reality, even with Ripple and XRP, that's the same thing. Ripple and Stellar, right? Their TPS doesn't even come close to Visa. The only ones that come close to Visa is Hedera and apparently BSV. Now, look at what it says here. At a fraction of the cost to users, that in itself, it could be underlying utility that was never tapped into it. Now, here's where the debate comes from. I know I'm doing another freaking BSV video. Anyway, here's where the debate comes from, and I think it's a very good debate, and that is basically, you can have, and people say this many times, shout out to Crypto Smith, right, Sean? And if he's watching, shout out to you, man. Hope you're doing well. And that is, you can have the greatest utility in the world, right? Picture, I don't know, man, like how about this? Like this car company doesn't exist no more, right? You got yourself a 1956 Studebaker Golden Hawk in pristine condition, showroom condition. And back in 1956, that could blow the freaking socks off of Chevy Bel Airs and everything. It can. My dad verified that in the past. My point is this. If you have this amazing car or any super thing, right, in itself, and if it's not being utilized, it's just sitting there. It's this nice, shiny thing. Is BSV going to be that? That's the debate. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. But if it does get utilized, like it says right here, where it offers a scalable and product-ready platform for blockchain application developers, many of whom have migrated from other networks such as Ethereum after encountering scaling issues as their adoption increased, it says BSV is capable of scaling along with user adoption. Now, that's the key thing. They need more of that user adoption, right? Let's be, we got to throw that in there. So, which means developers can be assured that transaction fees will remain low and interactions will be processed quickly. All this sounds amazing. We need more of that particular adoption, kind of like in crypto, but I don't know. What saves this, and I want to show you this real quick. All right. What saves this is kind of like what it says in regards to the circulation. All right. And it has the same type of circulating supply as native Bitcoin, BTC. Has the same max supply, has the same total supply. Another thing that says this is it's only ranked 67th. It's a top 100 project. They do get a decent amount of volume. I mean, come on, 42,390,000, right? It is on a decent amount of markets. You can get this on KuCoin for centralized, right? Poloniex. There's some other ones. I mean, I don't mention some of these other ones because I'm not really familiar with them. But there's, plenty of exchanges, right, that it's at. There's only 2 decentralized exchanges you could get at, ForSwap and ViteX. Never you heard of them. But again, I'm going to reiterate this just a little bit more, pound it home just a little bit more. When you go further down on some of this, and I like CMC kind of gives you a summary on some of this. So, some people talk about, well, I don't know about BSV. I mean, is it even that secure? Well, here's the answer. It says BSV is secured by proof of work consensus mechanism as described by the Bitcoin white paper. This means that for block containing new transactions to be added to the blockchain, miners must solve complex mathematical problems, just like, technically how originally a bunch of miners came into Bitcoin like in 2010, 2011, 15, 17, and so on, right? They invested more into some of these graphics cards, right? GPUs to basically mine, right? It's the same concept that never really went away. So that, it's a similar use case for mining as native BTC. Of course, tells you where you could buy it and so on. But my thing also is, when I go to the community Twitter, and I'll pull that up right real quick. Here it is. I mean, they have a decent amount of people that follow them, right? 23,000. But you would think something's huge like this would be like over 100,000. And when you get more into it, it says they do point out certain things. So, like, 6 hours ago, third record week for 24 million transactions on BSV. That in itself is big. And the reason why it's big is look at Hedera's HBAR. Remember how many times we talked about, like, wow, man, Hedera did like, I don't know, was it like over 1 billion transactions or something like that in a month, or maybe it was a week? I can't remember. It was big. Well, you see a lot of transactions here, but you want that to be kind of up there, right? If Hedera's HBAR is doing 1 billion in 7 days or a month or wherever the heck it was, you want to see something like this that you're invested in with BSV to be way, way up there. You don't necessarily see it. That's not me making fun. That's just me being real. I guess there's an update. It says meet this particular project is a hashtag for those accepted into Nigeria's blockchain scholarship program. They got things like that. They posted something about what happened back in Bitcoin, Florida. Hold on, it says some of the devs in Bitcoin conversing about everything they're excited about. So, I mean, here's the thing, right? If I lived in Florida and I was into BSV, or even if I wasn't into BSV and I could attend some of these particular things, like some of this, these are real devs. I'm sure some of these devs can really give you information, obviously, about what's going on with BSV and what makes them apparently like the greatest Bitcoin project since slice Satoshi sushi or something, no pun intended, So, I mean, they have these meetups, they talk about it, they're obviously passionate about it. They must know something that we don't know, right? There's nothing 18 hours ago. Next week, we're bringing big Bitcoin mainstream. Okay, so this answers some of my question because I want to see it go mainstream. I can't believe I'm doing this coverage. But anyway, next week, we're bringing Bitcoin mainstream by breaking a world record in transactions. So that's bold in itself. Think of how much heat this guy would take if that wasn't true. It says journalists, academics, and business relations are all watching. Oh my God, really? Okay, this is going to get chopped up, right? This wasn't planned. Nothing is ever planned with this whole thing with BSV. I will say this. The last video that I did wasn't planned either. It says journalists, academics, and business relations are all watching. I'm trying to keep my nerves down. Follow for updates breaking the world record next week. Let's blow that up. So this is on Mint Blue. It says, we plan to show rather than tell. The public blockchain is ready for business and poses an alternative to the traditional cloud. There's more info in regards to this. Yikes. Make this pie completely green. Let's blow that up. Transactions in the last 24 hours. Of course, it shows some of the competition. I mean, of course, they're going to boast some of that. I mean, it's to be expected. This is a whole thread. Let me get back into this. I know I went off the rails with what was not planned. Hold on a second. So that was that on that. Hold on a second. Let's do one more on this, right? Too bad Cool Cat's not watching this. I think he would really enjoy this. So it says, the Bitcoin Association's role is critical. It must preserve at all costs the unchanging protocol of Bitcoin. If it doesn't, then Bitcoin is corrupted and corruptible and is not a commodity. This is posted 15 hours ago. Latest micro article, money is the layer 0 protocol for humanity. When you get more into this, it says, Bitcoin Association importance, CBDC, possibility and gravity, civic motivation, migratory versus capitalist society, population growth, and so on. Shows Moses with the 10 Commandments in original Hebrew and so on. But I don't know. I mean, I think they do decent amount of posts. But my main thing is this key takeaway from 18 hours ago literally answered my question, because I didn't know that they had anything going real mainstream. So when is this going to happen? Next week? Is there any specific date? Breaking the record next week. This is on LinkedIn. I don't know. I'll click on LinkedIn, but it's probably going to ask me to log in and stuff. Hold on. All right. I guess I'll read this real quick. So this is something on LinkedIn. Again, extended coverage. Wasn't planning. All right. It says, please define what record. Okay. So they're planning to break the record. What record? Please define. It says common thinking is that blockchains. I'm not going to click off of that because I feel like if I click the X, it's going to freeze the screen. So it says common thinking is that public blockchains are considered slow and expensive and not viable for large-scale deployment of use cases around data ownership, transparency, storage, and authentication. What if the common consensus on blockchain technology is false? Next week, we want to show rather than tell that there is no such thing as blockchain trilemma. Speed, scale, and affordability go hand in hand on public enterprise blockchain. Confused? Let's grab a coffee and bring your go-to blockchain expert too. This is what we're planning on. Okay, cool. Finally, they're saying it. We're planning to hit numbers that have never been done before. That sounds bullish. Think Aiden plus ideal combined type of scale. This way, we prove to startups and enterprises that a blockchain is open for business, just like any other technology. What news outlets should we know about? What news outlets should know about this? Whom should we chase? That's a joke. They're not going to chase anybody. They want people to come. 15 hours ago, some guy says he loves this. Hold on a second. That's a lot. We're breaking the record. Oh, man. You know what? I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm going to buy Bitcoin SV. I'm going to buy some BSV. I'm not a big fan of buy the rumor, sell the news, but this in itself could be huge. Can't believe it. I'm actually saying this. I'm actually going to buy some BSV. I said I was going to be 4. I was on my list, but I'm actually going to buy some BSV.